This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo's free. He goes to get five. Edge of the box. Foley. Yes! Great goal! What a hit from Oliveira! It's wide! They've only gone and done it again! Forest back in the lead from Morgan Gibbs White! Oh, what he scores! And the City ground goes ballistic!
Hello and welcome back to Red Side Trent as we discuss Forest's long-awaited win at home as Chris Wood's fifth goal of the season seals a 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace, pushing Forest up to the magical place of 8th in the league table. Joining me to discuss all the action is Reese Lane and Christian Brown. Reese, how are we first of all?
Yes, very good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, nice to have a win. Christian, a 10-hour round journey or so. Worth it, obviously.
Yeah. Always worth it. If he says to me before, it's like, gosh, you 10 hours in a car, but Forest win, I'd definitely take that. So happy days.
Similar to the Southampton vibes, in all honesty, but playing away. Let's get straight into it then, chaps. Reece, starting with yourself. Team news come out. Nicolas Dominguez, however you want to call him, in for Morgan Gibbs White, who obviously got an extension of his suspension, and Anthony Elanga in for James Ward-Prowse, who was also serving a suspension, to keep us in a 4-2-3-1 shape, giving the opportunity to Elliot Anderson to start in the number 10. What was your thoughts on the team when it come out?
Yeah, first of all, glad we stuck with the formation because I think it's what we kind of had a little bit of a moan at Nuno for the Fulham game. I think it was either obviously going to be the team what it was, or it was going to be Jota in the 10 and Anderson in centre mid with Dominguez on the bench. But yeah, I was pretty happy with the team, and we got to see Anderson in the 10, and we got the question answered, didn't we? Really, that can he play in the 10? And the answer was certainly a yes.
Yeah, definitely. Christian, any thoughts from yourself about the team?
Well, no, that was the team I wanted to see. I think I saw, I don't know who it was, put the graphic out on our social with obviously Hotter starting in a 10. But no, I wanted to see Anderson get a go there. I wanted to see Dominguez come into midfield for more balance. And yeah, it's just one of those. It's sort of like, when it's sort of like what you want to see. It's like, oh, please win. Like, it's not going to be good if we lose. But yeah, thankfully it turned out to be the case. Yeah, I was very pleased with what we got.
Yeah, sticking with yourself, Christian. Obviously, the Premier League anthem come out, and I don't think I heard it after the first tone of it. The boos was just echoing around the ground. But I thought it was a bit of a tetchy start after that, and the early atmosphere of the game. It's, as I was speaking to you off before we started, it was a bit of a slow build up, and it was almost like two teams that didn't really want to lose. What did you make of the start of the game?
Yeah, it was like Everton levels for that Premier League anthem, weren't it? The boos that came down. The start of Palace, to be fair to them, they set up very well. I thought they had a very, very rigid sort of like 5-3-2 almost, and there was very little space in behind or through them even. They really had to sort of go long and then they just shuffle back. They pressed really high up the pitch. I think the only way we were getting any joy out of that really was Murillo sort of beating his man and then having a bit of space to pick a pass, but otherwise we were pretty penned in at times. And that obviously led to us giving away quite a few silly throws and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, like I said, they obviously didn't want to lose. It looked like a team that were very happy with a point. Like if had we drawn that game 0-0, which by all accounts it probably should have been in a lot of ways, they would have been very happy with that. But yeah, I think we were quite slow on the ball. I thought, I don't know if it's because we got a game on Friday as well, or because obviously we're playing on a Monday. I thought we were depending on where you look at it, it seemed a very patient build-up, or we looked a little sluggish. I suppose because we've won, you say it's a patient build-up rather than sluggish. But we did sort of seem to sort of not meander a bit, but we did look like we were sort of struggling to break through. There's a slight lack of spark, despite Anderson's sort of like tenacity. But yeah, it wasn't really one for the neutral, I thought. But there were still quite a lot of big chances, to be fair, in the first half, which I'm sure we'll come on to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Reece, what was your thoughts? Because my question was like, is it a case of Palace not having won all season, so they're setting up to be obviously definitely on the counter attack, being the away side? But did you see it as Forest being a bit tentative because we haven't won it so long? It's been like 6 months now, hasn't it? So dodgy one.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a bad game at all. I seen a few thought it was a really poor. I mean, compared to the Fulham game, I thought it was far better than that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It did seem very much early doors of two sides who really didn't want to lose it. Both are under pressure because at home, like you said, Adam, no wins in 7, not won at home for 6 months. Palace obviously haven't won this season, so there's a bit of pressure on us to break the duck at home. And obviously, Palace don't want to keep losing games because if they do, then Oliver Glasner's going to lose his job. So, yeah, but there's still quite a few chances in the first half, wasn't there? I mean, you had Eze's shot what went just past the post. I mean, Sells would have had no chance, wouldn't he, if that would have been a yard to right. Nketiah's strike was very fortunate. And then you look at our chances where Yates has hit the post. Wood had the header, which was a flick on from Yates. Also, the diving header from what was an absolutely incredible ball from Elliot Anderson. And then also another superb ball at the end of the half where, unfortunately, Wood, as he's stretching, instead of getting his studs on it, he's controlled it perfectly and it just drops to Henderson, which you can't do anything about that at the stretch. So there was plenty of chances compared to the last home game. And yeah, it was one of them games probably at half time. And I said this to Christian where, it's got 0-0 kind of written all over it, unless there's a moment of magic or an absolute howler. And it turned out the latter was what put the game in our favour, really.
Yeah, I mean, Anderson dazzled in the first half. But
he was brilliant.
creating for himself. I mean, that one where he waltzed through 2 or 3
that
players.
one as well. I mean, the close ball control, you can see why last night they called it the Geordie Maradona, because the close ball control was superb to watch. I mean, he dribbled past 3 or 4 players, didn't he, in a tight space in the air, and he just couldn't quite get any power on his shot. I mean, that would have been brilliant City ground goal if he'd have scored that one. But he was superb, Anderson.
Yeah, definitely. I thought second half we started off really well. Loads better. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Nicolas Dominguez, and I feel really sorry for him that this is his first opportunity to play central midfield in a very long time. He's always seemed to have got that role where he's got to play out wide and kind of do a job for the team. But I thought you could tell he was a bit rusty first half, and then second half I thought he really, really come into his own. Even after his yellow card, I thought he was much, much better. And Forest started getting a foothold, but someone who we thought should have maybe started and Jota Silva come on for Anthony Elanga, and it seemed like to have a bit of an effect. Though he was not involved in the goal at all, I just thought the Jota effect was in full flow as Alex Moreno's put a ball down the line and kind of Chris Wood ran onto it, Christian. I mean, Dean Henderson will be... I mean, he was apologising to the Crystal Palace fans at the end of the game, but it was a howler, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel a bit bad for Henderson, really. I mean, I don't obviously have too much sympathy with Palace, but I feel bad for him just because, obviously, I felt that when you look back, he actually gave the club a lot. In terms of he was a very good servant for us on loan. I still think it's upsetting we didn't actually get to keep him permanently, just because we would have been set in goal for 10 years or so. But equally, we have seen him concede goals of that nature, not fairly regularly, but regularly enough. And I saw a few sort of jokingly say on Twitter before the game that, get a few shots on range from Henderson, see what happens. And lo and behold. But I'd have almost as much issue with Chalobah's clearance, to be fair, if I was a Palace fan, just because, well, what's he doing? Why not just head it out? He's just headed it straight into a dangerous area. It's complete stupidity. And fair play to Wood, he's connected to it pretty well. He's got his laces through it, and he just seemed to bounce, just caught Henderson out, and he wasn't quite set properly. But it was sort of like watching it from Upper Bridgeford. I don't know about you, Reece. I was sort of like, did that just happen? Has that gone in? It just seemed really bizarre. It sort of looked like it was sort of saved, and you saw Henderson sort of just put his head into the turf. And then straight went up. It was the ball's gone in.
Because he got the bottom of his hand to it, that kind of took that pace out of him, didn't it? And it just squirmed under him. And to be fair to Ward, like you said, Christian, because he hit it so quickly, I think it just took Henderson by surprise. And that's like you said, Christian, he wasn't quite set. And in the end, it just looked a absolute how. But, you don't buy a ticket and you don't win the raffle, do you?
Don't
So fair play
complain.
to Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that it was probably, I don't know if that was the most difficult chance he had, but I mean, it's definitely a difficult one in terms of you've got to run onto it and keep your head over the ball and whatnot. And his technique for it was pretty good, and luckily it went in. And I think then from there, I think Forest really took the game to Palace. I don't think really I mean, they had a few pop shots. I thought Sells made a really good save from Eze's kind of long range effort from the free kick where he's tipped onto the bar. Schlupp obviously had an effort, but then other than that, I thought Forest defended out really exceptionally well. I thought there was opportunities to score a couple more. I think Anderson had another chance which got kind of blocked, didn't it? I think Henderson was going the other way actually, and he saved with his feet. We had a break at the very end, didn't we, with Jota? Picked the wrong ball. But this Forest team seems to see out games now really comfortably. I don't know about you, Reese, but I kind of don't get too worried about the added downtime at the moment. Touch wood.
Yeah, no pun intended. I was like, the first set of subs, I was a little bit concerned that was going a bit negative because, to be honest, at 1-0, I thought the only side who I thought was going to score again was us. I thought with a better team. I thought their heads dropped a little bit because obviously they're struggling. And then as soon as we kind of made the subs, that's where, Jeffrey Schlupp had that chance and Sells made a really good save. But then we made the second set of subs and that kind of got us set again for the last, period of the game. And like you said, Adam, we had the Henderson kick save was very, very strange. I'm not sure what he was kind of doing there. But he kept it out and that. And then it was just the choices in the final third, wanted just getting that right ball. I think there was one from somebody else where they should have played it to the right, I think to Jota, but they cut it back to the left. And then obviously the Jota one in the last minute, it was pretty good defending because he picked his moment. I think was it LaCrue at the back for them, I think.
Yeah, LaCrue,
yeah. He kind of picked his moment, didn't he, to put the afterburners on and get tight to Jota and block it. But no, I wasn't massively concerned really. I mean, defensively, we look pretty sound, don't we? I mean, every time you look at that back, back seven. Obviously, I'm including the two centre mids in this. They're shaking each other's hands, congratulating one another every time they kind of make the block. So, and it showed with your goalkeeper as well. Everyone kind of knows the jobs. The solidity of the back of the pitch is. Yeah, you've got kind of no issues. Last season, it would be head in hand, wouldn't it? Because, Murillo had more partners than Katie Price, didn't he, last season? So, it's just so solid. You just, no problem at all, was they?
No, I mean, Christian, Seb Hutchinson kind of reiterated to us on the pod previously how good it is that we keep Sells, Murillo and Milenkovic together. And it kind of showed yesterday. I mean, I agree with Reece. I thought we bought a Morato far too early. But again, he did another good job in coming in to a game where it's very poised. It's very on the knife. It could be on the knife edge and seamlessly kind of slotted in. And we still created chances. And it's testament to how Nuno's prepared us for this season, really.
Oh, massively, yeah. I think we do seem so much more structured. I think it's pretty right, and that's obviously the foundation to any success, the bedrock to anything like that as well. So it's good to see. I agree with Reece as well. It sort of coincided those subs, didn't it, with a 5 minutes Palace spell, didn't it, where sort of had quite a few corners and they're very much in our own half. Then once we sort of got the ball up the pitch. And obviously Hudson had to come off as well. Hopefully he's okay. I know it looked like a head injury, but he seems okay-ish, I think. Once Sousa and Taiwo came on, we did seem obviously it was just those for subs, but for whatever reason we just seemed a bit more composed with the ball once we actually got hold of it and sort of just started knocking it around a little bit, and we just took the sting out of the game. Palace really saw it out really well. It's nice. It's really nice seeing you look at Forest. It's sort of actually other teams are looking at us now and thinking, Jesus, what's going on? They don't look fun to play against anymore, and it's nice. And I've just seen DG's made a good point. I was thinking about this earlier, actually. I think probably for the first time since our promotion season, we've actually got players in every position that can come in, and you're pretty content that they're going to be on the pitch like, obviously, processes, for example, if Davis was injured, you'd have Graben or Surridge. If Yates or Garner had a knock, Colback could come in, for example. Even in goal, for example, if something would happen with Sambi, you had Horvath there, and no one really had too many complaints about that. So wherever you look for a team, there's always something. And now, I mean, we'll come on to it in due course, I'm sure, but Dominguez is probably maybe our fifth choice central midfielder through no real fault of his own. Could probably start for most bottom half Premier League teams. So we're in a situation now where we've actually got like quality all over the pitch. Morato, as you just touched upon, is a perfect example. He seems to be like the sort of the shutdown man, doesn't he? He's sort of like the party closer. He comes on and that's it. He just sort of like, came on against Liverpool, Chelsea. I don't think he's conceded a goal yet, to be fair, which is a pretty good record to have as a defender. So unless there was one at Brighton, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So it's nice. We're actually in a pretty. It's weird to say it as well in a defensively sound position. It's just hopefully it's a season-long thing and not a little random burst. But it's looking positive. It's nice.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you two guys a question before we get into the slept on it thoughts. Do you get concerned that we're not scoring enough goals, or do you think that will kind of come in time? Because it's not like we've not created chances; we're just kind of not going in the onion bag every now and then. Reece, I'll put that to you first.
I mean, we created enough chances last night. The first half. The two crosses from Anderson, the Yates header. But that's free. I think there's another in the first half. I'm trying to kind of think.
Would have three, and then Anderson and Yates probably.
Yeah, the Anderson one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of four. And then there was chances in the second half as well. Yeah, but we kind of can't rely on Wood every week to score, can't we? Obviously we'll talk about the wingers in a bit, but I know Hudson-Odoi obviously chipped in with a goal at Anfield. You're kind of looking for Elanga or whoever's on that right to start chipping in a bit more. Obviously Gibbs White when he's fit. I know he scored at Southampton. So yeah, not concerned. It'd just be nice if we can maybe take that little bit of burden off Wood at times, but when he keeps scoring as he did last night, and he had several good chances, you say, well, fair enough for me.
Yeah, Christian.
I would be more concerned if we weren't creating that many chances. I think if you're, I think it's like right repetition. If you do something enough times, you're going to get it right eventually. We are making the right. It's not like we're having one of these chances a game, for example. We're so reliant on it going in, which we have been in over the last 2 years, really. For example, I can think of many occasions where, we've gone into games, have maybe one chance taken it and got something out of it. Whereas now we are actually creating a bit more, not freely, but, you look at the highlights after a game, for example, and it sort of matches what you've seen in the ground. That actually we had quite a few chances, like Reece touched upon there. Yates hit the posts. Wood had that header, had the one just before the break inside the 6-yard box. And you think, okay, we're actually making like quite decent opportunities. Even the second half, that one with Potter at the end of the game, a better ball, we probably score there. So if we're just making like one or two of these a match and we're playing very defensively, you start to wonder, have we actually got enough firepower? But I think that, we are actually creating, we just maybe aren't being as clinical as we were. So, but that'll come. So the key thing is actually creating a chance to begin with, because it's the hardest thing to do if it wouldn't score a goal. So as long as we're doing the right things, it'll fall into place, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just don't want us to keep relying on this amazing defence that we've got so far, and kind of give them a little bit of a breather as well. That's my only concern. But yeah, I like you said, I'd be more concerned if we wasn't creating chances. I just would like us to be a bit more clinical, because we've not put a team to bed yet since being in the Premier League, and that's something I'd absolutely love to see, just for the confidence and just for the fun of it, really, more than anything. But we're going to get into your guys' slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
Thank you very much for everyone that got in touch. Adrian, Warren, Anderson needs to be free to roam, a special player who can do untold damage given the freedom, and Milenkovic is a legend in the making. Mr. Potato Head, this team has heart and hustle, a winning combination. Man of the match is Wood, put himself in the right areas all match and it eventually paid off. Ward really should be man of the match as a team effort. Stalwart defensively, just a gritty win. Premier Elliott, great win. Nicholas Dominguez ran his socks off tonight. It was generous of Dean to let one in. Today's fact is Andrew Lloyd Webber hated the recent film version of Cats the musical so much that he went out and bought a dog. Very good, Tom, Premier Elliott. Cheers. Tom Oxford, great team effort. Anderson, very good, but Sells just gets man of the match for me. Love Yotta when he came on. Matt Hoy casually cruising past Derby's record with 30 games to spare. Binnett, Sells has turned into prime Neuer. Anderson is brilliant, but hats off to Wood again. Watched on TV. Atmosphere was a bit flat, nervy with a question mark. Martin Fretwell, hard fought win, game management. Last 20 was excellent. Free hit now against the bin dippers. Man of the match for me. Anderson gave us that bit of magic. Daniel Gill, Sells and Anderson were class. Massive confidence boost getting a win finally at home. Peaches, not the most exciting match. 3 points at home, all that matters. Sells, Anderson, Wood, fantastic. Dominguez had a better second half. Jota and Sosa, we need more of, please. Johnny Ancliffe, great win, gritty performance, had a bit of everything, all played their part. Dominguez, second half was immense. Anderson, best player on the pitch. Sells looking the real deal now, only negative. Anthony Elanga. Reece Coy, always a difficult task to break down a team that hasn't won a game yet. So the game was never going to be a blockbuster. Sells man of the match, but as a unit, we didn't give any away. Give away any clear-cut chances again. Starting to look like a Premier League side, deserving of our place in the league. Ryan Wise, great win on another day. Woody has a hat-trick. Every player put a shift in. Anderson is special, and I just hope we keep him centrally as he is wasted out wide. Tom Newton, defensively brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Definitely know how to kill a game in stoppage time these days. Milenkovic has brought a huge assurance to our defence. Special mention to Sells' mature performance onto the Fox botherers down the A46 on Friday night. Last but no means least, Capanosity and function. Man of the match, Sells. He backed up his Chelsea form. Lessons learned from Fulham, don't tinker. Anderson trusted, Anderson delivered. Wood scoring on and off the pitch. Chalobah discovers karma is a bitch. Thank you very much for everyone that got in touch. I mean, I did quite like Capanosity's little nod to Wood having the news of having a baby soon. So congratulations to Chris Wood and his family, obviously scoring on and off the pitches, as Ed said there. Guys, player performances, obviously, and someone that was mentioned there was Anthony Elanga. I am going to start with a bit of a negative here, Reese, because I thought, I mean, I like that we went with him, but I didn't like what I saw.
Yeah, he did struggle to get into the game. I see the narrative, what's building on social media, and you know, I push back on narratives because I hate him. Is that his head's been turned because of obviously the last day of the window of obviously rejected bid to Newcastle. Well, the game after that was Liverpool away, and he produced probably one of the best passes we've seen since we've come back to the Premier League, set up as goal. So it doesn't look to me personally like someone whose head has been turned in that game, but. You know, this notion of, oh, he's done absolutely nothing since, I just don't buy that personally. He's struggling a little bit at the minute, probably for confidence, isn't he? If only we gave support to him as much as we do for a player at Tottenham, but we'll go past that. He's struggling a little bit at the minute. The problem probably is for Anthony is that you know, like last season, that I think the best we got out of him was when we played the ball in behind. You look at the Newcastle game as the one with teams with a high line, and he gets the afterburners on. He kind of knows what he's doing, and he gets in with his pace, and then he's obviously in a good position to assist or obviously score. This season, it's been more of, you know, teams are obviously wary probably a bit more of us, and it's kind of like he needs to be a man. And there was a great opportunity last night where I think it was Gerhi where he could have knocked it by him. And, you know, Gerhi's not dead slow, but he's not dead quick, and he kind of hesitated, and I think Gerhi then put a good tackling on him. So I'm not going to like start absolutely bashing him because I just don't want to do that. You know, it's just, maybe he's just struggling from a little bit of confidence. And the problem is for him at the minute as well is that Jota Silva's coming on and doing really well. So obviously there's going to be a lot of fans, and they've got a fair point to say, yeah, let's get him to start. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I wouldn't mind who played in that right wing on Friday, whether it's Alanga or Jota. I still think Alanga's a good player, and he's probably, he needs kind of this a run of games and to sort his confidence out and something click for him. But there does come a point where you think, well, Jota's chomping at his heels and he's not doing it enough, so he can come in. But yeah, I'm not going to start going into narratives of, oh, his head's been turned or anything like that. Personally, I don't agree with that, but that's my opinion, and other people have got theirs. But I mean, people will probably say now, well, you said you'd have got rid of him for 50 million if it had come in the window, and I think if that was the case, then perhaps. But we couldn't have sold him on the last day of the window. Imagine the mood if Marinakis would have accepted the bid on the last day of the window and would have sold him at the time as well. Like a good point someone made on Twitter, we didn't know much about Jota or Sousa, so it's easy to say in hindsight. But we'll just have to see with Alanga. When we've won the game, I'm not going to get on his back personally too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that Mason said to me last night, who I went and has been on this podcast, he said he needs to get back to making things simple for himself. Get the ball, get down the line, and cross the ball in. And he doesn't need to do anything else. Yeah. Last season, he got 14, 15 goals and assists from doing exactly that. Really, and I know he scored some goals coming off the left wing, but he's good at running in straight lines.
That's why I kind of mentioned it, where he had that chance to knock it by. Like I said, there was I look back to the Burnley away game last season where he did that, knocked it by the fullback, got a great ball in. Chris Wood's there at the back post, turn it in, and you're like, brilliant. That's exactly what we want to see. Alanga and Wood, I think, was behind. I think it was Bailey and Watkins and Palmer, and I think it might have been Jackson for goals and assists together, third since the start of maybe last season. So we kind of want to start seeing that combination again, don't we, if he is going to be in the team. But like I said as well, you can't blame fans wanting Jota Silva in the team, because every time he comes on, he's very lively, isn't he?
Yeah, just my last piece on Alanga. I think what I'd like to see from him in early in the game is stand his full back up and then go, come on, then I'm going to test you for a sprint, because that's his game. That's his strength and that's his power. And I just want to see that more, like just get someone in a foot race early doors and see where you're at.
The problem is as well, like I said earlier, he's going to get the comparisons to Johnson because he's on that side, and obviously Brennan Johnson's in a hot streak of form now. So I've seen like a few of the comparisons since, but he isn't our player anymore, and Alanga is. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with him. I'm not going to start bashing him personally.
No, Christian, Nicholas Dominguez, who has probably been patiently waiting for an opportunity in central midfield and got it out of, well, not from his own doing really, but from circumstance. But I thought did okay and had a very good second half.
Did more than okay. But Dominguez was brilliant. You could make a claim he'd probably be man of the match contention. Personally, I thought he was outstanding last night. First half, he was a bit, he made quite a few fouls. I was surprised he didn't get booked in the first half, to be fair. There was one in particular, I think, I can't remember who it was, just like close to the edge of the box. He just sort of just whacked the guy's ankle, took him out. I was like, oh no, he's getting booked for that. But he didn't. But second half, he looked, I don't know, it was just like ring rust or whatever else that he had to sort of like get out of the system. But second half is fantastic. Like, he was so tenacious. He pressed very well, kept the ball very well. I think he had like a pretty high pass completion in the game, which didn't surprise me. Like, he's a very effective footballer, and yeah, like I said, like I really rate the guy. I think he's a very good, very very good footballer that we have at the club. It's just unfortunate that we've got so many options there, but really it's going to be hard for Nuno to drop him off that. I think if you put him next to Yates or Sangare, then obviously you're saying, right, who do you drop? Do you drop Anderson if Gibbs White's fit? Do you drop Danilo? Do you drop, and obviously for Dominguez? So it's pretty tough competition there. But I think when you play him in that position, he always gives Forest something. The only mistake I could ever really remember him making was away at West Ham, when he sort of gave it to Maketa for that goal. Otherwise, he's been very reliable for us. So, and last night he was outstanding. Last night, like he was basically in midfield on his own, but this time actually had support from Yates and Anderson, and it was a massive part of us, like winning the game in the end. And yeah, also I saw Forest put up his heat map earlier, didn't they? He's pretty much everywhere, wasn't he? Like I don't think it was barely a blade of grass he didn't cover. And yeah, I think the only issue for me with Dominguez is much like Aina, is that does he have like a full 90 minutes in him without getting knackered? That's because he just gives so much to the cause in the process. But he managed it last night. I thought he was really, really good. He was one of his better nights for Forest. And yeah, it's it's very tough call for Nuno to drop him after that, I think.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a short conversation about that. But Reese, personally, this is my man of the match anyway. But I don't know what about you. But Elliot Anderson, I thought was excellent and rightly got a standing ovation as he got substituted yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I went for Dominguez because towards the end of the game, there was I was so on the fence between him and Anderson because Henderson didn't do the 90 as well. I'm probably being a bit taken out to camp. There's just one pass in like injury time, which just think nailed it for Dominguez to me. He was under a bit of pressure. He just sweeped it wide. First time touch, perfect. I was like, yeah, he was absolutely everywhere. I'm glad Forest kind of put that heat map up to show what he offered to the team last night. But yeah, Anderson was superb. I mentioned earlier the close ball control. I mean, there was a couple of times where he must have dribbled it past 3 or 4 players. I mean, the crossing. I mean, the cross for Wood for the diving header and the cross at the end of the half, De Bruyne-esque crossing that. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, he was brilliant. I was a bit disappointed he come off early because I don't know whether that was because of fatigue, but yeah, he was brilliant last night. And he's looking at the minute a great piece of business, isn't it? I know, like we've said before in the pod, the media's perception of this 35 million. Well, I think it's 15 million, and that it's looking an absolute steal into that. Yeah, he was brilliant last night. And the only frustration really from Anderson's performance was, why didn't we do this against Fulham? Because it's kind of what we all asked, and then we still had the question, didn't we? After and he got answered last night. He can easily fill in for Gibbs White because yeah, he was superb last night. Anderson, brilliant performance.
Last night's performance for me would even challenge Gibbs White's starting position in some aspects. Like, but I know what the answer is going to be, but you know what I mean. It's good competition.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Well, that's what we need, isn't it? I've just like said, I'd like sticking behind the Langer a bit. But if players aren't performing as much as I've always advocated for players needing runs in teams to kind of get going, you've got players now on the bench, quality players who are going to come in and take the spot, and that's what we've needed. I think, and this is because the first season we come up with a skeleton squad, didn't we? The first time I think in the Premier League now where you look at a squad and think, yeah, this is a Premier League squad. I think there's been times probably in the last 2 seasons when we had a best 11 on the pitch where you think, yeah, that's a Premier League 11. But when it gets down to like we've got a few injuries or suspensions or whatever, or you have to kind of rotate, you're thinking, not too sure. You look at, like, with no disrespect, players like we had Czech Kouyaté, for example, last season. He's still, I don't think, found a club. Like Harry Toffolo would have been the second choice left back. He can't even get in the squad. Amabadadeli was playing games last season, can't get in the squad at the minute. So, Willy Bolly, who we've said has been consistent whenever he's played for Forest. I don't think he's played a minute yet this season.
He played against Bournemouth, I think.
Yeah.
First game.
So it's great, and it's great. It's great being a Forest fan at the minute because it's competition for places. The squad unity, as I said earlier, like everybody's with one another. Celebrating tackles and saves. It's brilliant to see. It's just an enjoyable time to be a Forest fan at the minute. And we've said at this level, haven't we, that there isn't a lot of highs. So when you're getting these highs, obviously you can't get too high, but you've got to kind of enjoy them. And to be honest, I can't wait till Friday. I'm really looking forward to Friday, to be honest.
Yeah, me too, and probably Christian as well, and everyone in the chat who we thank for everyone for joining us on the Tuesday afternoon. I did want to ask one more question before I go on to Christian's last player performance. Reece, does this kind of end the question of Anderson being like pushed out wide for a game or two or whatever, is he kind of firmly confirmed either play him central midfield or behind the striker now?
Yeah, mainly, definitely at home against the teams who were probably looking to kind of finish above, like last night in Palace. Maybe needs must away, for Liverpool away. He was on the wing once and he did a solid job for the team because he offers a lot of energy. If obviously his close control last night showed he can dribble out of tight situations. So but I think his best position is centrally. Personally, probably is an 8. I think he is a number 8 personally for what I've seen so far. I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. I didn't. When we signed him, I didn't know much about him, and you know what this perception is in football. You kind of get a continental name, and you get a bit gooey inside, don't you? But you obviously see this, English midfielder who's kind of leaving Newcastle, and you think, oh, is he? Well, they're not like. I know there was FFP with it, but they're not going above and beyond to keep him. You're thinking, when we had obviously John Joe Shelby last time. I know Anderson's still young, but he's. To say I've not known much about him to now, I'm delighted with what I've seen from him so far. He looks a player. I think last night he kind of arrived, didn't he? I think for me at Forest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mark Southern said on the Forest Focus podcast he's won the most ground duels per minutes in the Premier League, which is it's sensational. Christian, I've got 2 people for you because I know me and Reese have kind of badgered on there. I've gone for a defensive duo, and it's not Murillo actually. It's Sells and Milenkovic. I thought Murillo was excellent last night, and I'm sure you can touch on him as well, especially with his. I think he got 4 successful dribbles last night, which is mental. But yeah, Sells and Milenkovic, Milenkovic has seemed to have changed our complete mentality. He's like edging people on to go forward still at like 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that stat about Murillo surprised me because, like I was saying, most of those dribbles probably would have come when he just beat one person, went forward, then laid it off, just because he was the only one that could beat that press, which is what makes him such a valuable asset. You got a skillful centre back who can do that. But as far as Milenkovic and Sales goes, Milenkovic, I will say, I don't want it to sound sort of like, oh, it's just a Forest fan talking about a Forest player. I don't think there's been a more important signing in the Premier League by any other club than Forest signing Milenkovic this season. He's completely changed everything. Like the stat about set pieces before the game, I think it was like 40 something set
48 corners. I think 48 corners.
Yeah, and obviously that's probably gone up now from last night as well. He's just completely like the defense has gone from looking decent, but knowing there's a slight fragility there somewhere that can be exposed to looking pretty rock solid. Like I think I know Adam Summerton's gone on about it quite a lot of times. Like this is a Champions League level defender Forest have signed here for £12 million as well. Like it still feels like there's sort of check the receipt to make sure that's definitely right because we should have probably paid more for what we've got. No, and last night again he was. Nketiah will wake up today like battered and bruised, knowing that he's been in an absolute like war zone with Milenkovic because he just couldn't get any joy out of him whatsoever. Even when he was like, he goes dribbling and getting shots away, like they're all from relatively decent distances. Really, I think they only had like 1 shot inside the box. I think Nketiah. So, he was just so well marshalled all game, and it's just we all, obviously Murillo gets all the plaudits because his passing accuracy is sensational. He's very skillful. You touch the pod, he can dribble and whatever else. But them two as a package, like if you think of like the sort of like I don't know if you guys played like Pro Evolution Soccer or PES back in the day. It used to be that sort of like pentagon thing where it's sort of like where like their strengths are. Them two together, it's like combined, it's like all the way around, like at the top. It's just a perfect pairing. Like they've got everything together. Like one can pass it, one can head it. They're like one's a leader, one can dribble, and it just works so well. I mean, like you have to remember as well. I think this time last year we were probably approaching 6 or 7 the different centre back partnerships or pairings, whether it was like Worrell McKenna, whether it was Aurier in the back 3, or whether it was Murillo and Felipe, Murillo and Niakate, Murillo and Bolly, whatever. Now it just feels like we've got a settled like side. We know what the hierarchy is, and that's probably coming on to my next point with Sells. That must help Sells too, to to be fair, because he knows exactly what they're going to do. He knows what their like is going to be. And that will help him feel more settled as a result, which is probably showing in his performances now as well. Because whereas last season, I think his save rate was like 60-something%. He wasn't that much better than Turner's, which was a bit weird because on the eye test, like, Sells was a huge upgrade. I mean, traffic code would have been a huge upgrade on what we had last season at times. But Sells, like, it just obviously brought that calmness. But now he's making, like, we're seeing his reflexes. That save from Schlupp yesterday, like, at first, I thought, even at the ground, I thought, oh, no, that's straight at him. It's not too special. Fair enough. You watched it back, like, he's seen that so late, and he still, like, jammed his arm out to sort of prevent it. The one from Eze as well, which tips onto the bar. Like, I don't think it's any surprise since Milenkovic has come in, the whole defence and goalkeeping department have looked stronger and better because they all seem so much more assured and of their responsibilities. So, yeah, that's probably, I don't want to like go into hyperbolic mode because we know what it's like in football. There's never any sort of bigger picture. Like, everyone's very reactive. Like, look at Leicester for a prime example. Like, I mean, I will say, and I said on this podcast as well, I said Leicester will stay up in the Cooper, and you all laughed at me. And like, now they're like, what, 14th or whatever it is, and no one's really talking about them as relegation contender anymore because of how bad Southampton have been, for example. So people, but if we beat them on Friday, it'll be, oh, Leicester in for a tough ride, blah 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 blah. So I don't want to get carried away with anything too yet, but I genuinely think Milenkovic on this current trajectory could well go down as one of our like best modern day signings because he's just been absolutely phenomenal, and like long may it continue as well.
I think he's like a younger, more granite version of Felipe Milenkovic. Is probably how I'd describe him.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. Yeah,
granite. I love that.
I mean, I have to agree with Christian. I mean, hats off to the recruitment team. I mean, I think the reason why he was let go so cheap because apparently he was on nearly 100 grand a week at Fiorentina, and the rumour is that we basically covered the wages to get him.
Oh, mate, treble it the way he's played.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's sorted as our about. I mean, we were leaking goals left, right, and centre from set pieces. The only set piece we've conceded this season was a free kick. So that looks a fabulous piece of business. That does.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot to mention Sells' save from as a close range, and then Kamada's after when it then got flagged offside. I mean, that was incredible reflexes as well. But I think Milenkovic is starting to kind of be that cult hero. I mean, I seen him fist pumping Lower Bridgeford yesterday. I mean, that could be the start of something there. Yeah, amazing. I mean, you can wax lyrical about all of our team at the moment. It's sensational stuff. Second lowest goals conceded at the moment.
The thing is as well, like Yates is your captain, so you've got that leader in the centre of the park, but Milenkovic is a leader. And you don't have to add that captain's armband on to be a leader at the back. And, Murillo's still a young lad, still pretty inexperienced, really, for senior football. Yeah, he's a proper leader. It's just, I know it's the easy comparison, but he's just like Vidic at Man United, isn't he? I mean, if like Seb said, if they were linked within Manchester United with the signings they've made at the back, he'd walk into their team without a shadow of a doubt.
I will pay dividends to Aina and Moreno in this, but Moreno made an unbelievable block yesterday when Murillo kind of dived in weirdly, and then Moreno made a huge block. And as a back five and a collective, it's only good that they must have played the last 4 or 5 games together, maybe more now, and you kind of just. It just shows how well it works by playing that consistent team, and we've not had that since coming back to the Premier League, and I feel like that's something that Nuno's kind of like really nailed down early doors. I mean, fantastic. But before we get into the Leicester kind of game, we did want to talk about a few bits and bobs that have happened off the pitch. It's never boring, is it, with Forest? Reece, I did want to speak to you about this Marinakis incident that you earlier alerted to me today about some sort of spitting, and I was like, what are you on about spitting? And then you sent me the link and I was like, oh, okay.
So obviously, to put a bit more meat on the bones, he was given, obviously Gibbs had an extra game ban. I think Nuno was a 3-game touchline ban, obviously served one last night, and then Marinakis has got a 5-game stadium ban, which I found baffling with the fact that he owns a club. I mean, I listened to Simon Jordan on TalkSport this morning. He was pretty perplexed, and he was like, what are the FA going to do if he does rock up? He's like, they're going to get like the armed guards of Seville had to like take him out of the stadium or somewhere. But he says obviously he's probably staying away because if he does rock up, then they're going to fine us even more, and we don't want obviously when we've got FFP, to worry about. We don't want to get. We've already had $750,000 fine. We don't want them to keep racking up, don't they? Yeah, I've seen the spitting thing. I mean, only those who were there will kind of know the full truth of it. At the end of the day, if he's spitting, as much as I detest referees, if he's spitting towards referee, you can't legislate that. You can't defend it because it's spitting at people's disgusting. I mean, the stick El Hadjouf used to get when he used to do it back in the day. But only those who were there will know whether or not that's true. It's kind of gone down the lawyer jargon route, anti the statement and that with the coffin and stuff. So it is what it is. We don't really want to see his, when we're doing so well on the pitch, we don't really want to see his name off the pitch in such bad light because, like I said earlier, everyone's so positive at the minute. You go on social media and there's so much positivity for once. So until Friday, at least we can enjoy some positivity.
Christian, what did you make of Nuno getting an extra couple of bans? I know we spoke about the fine on the pod in the international break, but what did you think for the extension of his ban, especially because, well, Rob Jones basically said Morgan had won the ball and then decided to change his mind because his mate got involved. But surely, like I know they can't be effing and jeffing at referees, but the reaction was justified. So I don't get it. It's a bit strange. It's a strange grey area.
This is what gets. Yeah, this is what annoys me as well. This is why I feel Gibbs White's been out of all the three, Gibbs White's been the one that shafted the most, I think, because he was wrongly sent off, and like a key match panel of obviously came to that conclusion. He was wrongly sent off that there wasn't enough there to give him a second yellow card and whatever. Just some like bald whopper intervening just because he thinks he can, and so you have that instance, and then he's then been given a second game ban for a second yellow card, which wasn't a second yellow card because of his reaction to something not being a second yellow card, but was given as a second yellow card. And it's just like, how? Like they just don't help themselves, do they? It's like, surely it's just better if they have something so incompetent like that, and you just go, okay, look, like. It's like on FA when you correctly call them out and you hear like FA silent on Brown criticism or whatever else or whatever. I think this probably would have been a case for that, just because like if you've got like an independent panel saying it's the wrong decision, yes, okay, you are right. You can't really and I get this stems down as well, and I see it on Sunday morning as well that it unfortunately does carry down. And that's why, but they're so inconsistent. They make such like rob for their own back, like. I get they have to clamp down on it because, and to be fair, when I saw it on TV, Gibbs White, he does go straight into Anthony Taylor's face and give him some expletives. And what was the term that Lewis Dunk was sent off? I think it was personally abusive language. I think was the official term Lewis Dunk was sent off for referencing Anthony Taylor's hair and calling him a body part of the male anatomy. And Gibbs White did exactly the same thing, and you can see it on camera. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, he could be in trouble for that as well. And obviously Nuno's done the same thing. So, but I get that they have to sort of, issue punishment for that accordingly. I get obviously Nuno had the suspended sentence as well, but surely there must be some molecule of common sense at the FA where they go, look, they've got angry over something that's been proven to be the wrong decision. Yes, they shouldn't have reacted that vociferously, but it still shouldn't have happened to begin with. If the referee does their job properly, that doesn't happen. There is no flare up. There's no controversy. There's no anything. So I would like to think that was a part of their thinking. But then it's the FA. This is the FA who refuses sanction Bruno Fernandes for throwing a ball at a linesman, and then realised very quickly they had to double down that and give Mitrovic a 8-game ban or whatever it was for getting too close to one. So they are incompetent, and it's quite worrying really, because this is the leading organisation of English football. But it's just frustrating. I saw Sky was sort of trying to like on Nuno watch and sort of seeing him. It's like I think I say if you squint enough, you might see him at the back of like Marinakis's sort of like private little lounge thing that he's got now. But it's just annoying. Thankfully, it's only 2 games for it. Thankfully, it didn't impact us last night because it still felt like he was on the touchline and his coaching staff carried out, his instructions to a T. It wasn't to our detriment. But yeah, I think just there is a sense of injustice, I think, and perhaps fair one too, because like I said, if the referee does his job properly to begin with, none of this happens. So it's cause and effect, really.
Which I thought the referee was actually quite good last night. Rui Pedro Silva was getting rather animated. I can see why he's part of Nuno's coaching staff. Absolutely.
He didn't really have much to do, did he, decision-wise?
No, he didn't. And that's how football should be. Like, the referee shouldn't even get noticed half the time, but it happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem is...
what Lee was saying, weren't he? Lee was saying... sorry.
We're all sat here.
Lee was saying,
Go on, Christian.
You go first. I keep sort of drifting in and out, so I'll let you go.
I says we're all sitting here rationing with a level head, and that's what the FA will see it as. Oh, you can't, start effing and jeffing at the officials. But in the moment when we've all played football, if a referee indicates you've got the ball and then whips out a second yellow, your head does go because you peed off. That's just a natural reaction. But you've got to say, according to the FA, okay, ref. And if you don't, you just got to accept. And if you don't, obviously, you get these fines. And like Christian said, if it would have been, someone who played for Liverpool or Man United, they probably would have got away with it. But that's another discussion.
Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on to the Leicester game. Obviously, massive game for those down the A46 because they think it kind of is a derby, isn't it? Let's get it right. We're in close proximity. We're both in the East Midlands. We're both in the East Midlands.
Yeah, listen, it's
but
right.
like it's Chelsea. It's like that's like saying Arsenal v Brentford's this massive London derby. It really annoys me how Sky.
It is a London derby. That would be. No.
It's not
right. It is an East Midlands derby. That is factually correct, right? Is it the main East Midlands derby for us? No, and it never will be. Are Leicester rivals? Yes. Are they on a long list of rivals? Yes. Are they our main rivals? No. That is the difference.
I can name five teams.
Leicester's main rivals will be us, and they're on a long list of teams along with a load of drops who are now in the Championship. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're bickering over nothing. Anyway, big game. Obviously, Leicester have come back off from two games on the bounce they've won. I mean, Aaron Ramsdale will be probably still head in hands after that winner went in. I don't even know how it did. It was like about 2 miles per hour P roller in the corner, but we digress. Reece, obviously, big, massive dilemma for Nuno with such good performances in the middle of the park, and then obviously Elanga being out of form. But are you tempted to, obviously, if Morgan Gibbs-White is one fit, bring him back in? Ward-Prowse obviously going to be back from suspension, and would you finally maybe start Jota Silva out wide?
What makes it interesting is the close proximity of the games. I know it's the same as only playing Saturday, Tuesday, but they've had a couple of extra days rest. I know we've not got to travel far, but they're also at home. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what team we play, because really you kind of say when you've won the game, you don't change a winning team, do you? And there's kind of nothing really last night from the team where you think, well, that was an absolute disaster. I know people are saying, Elanga could have been better, and I do agree, but he's not, doesn't make him a terrible footballer all of a sudden. I don't know. Jota Silva's a weird one, and I think Shane put this on Twitter earlier about him falling into that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer category. We don't kind of know if, and I kind of get that perception, and there's an element of truth to it, but we don't kind of know if that's true until he starts. So yeah, I wouldn't be adverse to him starting. I wouldn't be adverse to Elanga starting, because I know, having watched Elanga for a season or a bit, he's got quality. It's just obviously going through a bit of a sticky patch at the minute. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Jota start. Would I bring Gibbs-White back? I know he was suspended for yesterday, but if he's injured for yesterday, I'd be vastly surprised if he's fit for Friday, unless he was kind of like 50-50 yesterday, and we think, well, I know obviously he's suspended. If he wasn't suspended, I'm saying hypothetically speaking, we'll save him for Friday. I think we'll have to see. I guess you also have to look at, the staff behind the scenes will look how much last night has taken out of certain players. We were championing how good Dominguez was, covering every blade of grass, but he's not played a lot this season. So we'll have to see. It's interesting, isn't it? The back five's going to stay the same, but the rest of the team, I think Yates and Anderson will definitely play in some capacity.
And
I think if Wood will obviously play. I think Hudson-Odoi will play. I think the two really will probably either be Elanga or Jota. And if Gibbs White is fit, does he kind of bring Dominguez out? Does he bring Yates out? Because there has been times when he's not started Yates this season. But I think in that type of game, you probably need Yates to start because they're going to be up for it. The home, like you said, Adam, they've won back-to-back games. However, they've won them by hook or crook. So they're going to be up for it. It's, it's got that extra spice, hasn't it, because it's under the lights. So it's all set up to be an exciting night. And I'm interested to see what team we play. I'm not too sure, mate, what we're going to go for. I'm kind of not adverse to anything at the minute because people are showing off the bench that they've got quality. So, hopefully Nuno picks the right team. As long as we stay in this formation, what I believe is the best formation for us in a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, definitely. Christian, obviously, the extra added spice is also as reuniting with Steve Cooper in some capacity. Leicester fans were wanting his head on a spike not too long ago, and lo and behold, 2 weeks of football have gone by, or two game weeks, should I say?
I think they still are, mate. To be fair, I don't.
Well, he must have won some people over after that game at the weekend. I don't care it's Southampton, but
I think if he beats us on Friday, I think he'd win a few over for sure.
But yeah, coming back from 2-0 down in any game is earning some brownie points. But Christian, what do you make of that game, and how do you see it kind of going? I know we're you and Reese are kind of combining in some capacity, doing a preview of a Leicester fan.
Yeah, I think we've got one. I think planned in for. Well, we'll release it on Friday. I think that's the plan, definitely. I think Reese is going to do that one as well, so that'll be good. Obviously we know how important it is today and their game. You have to look back to when we played them in the cup with Cooper in charge, funny enough, and they obviously went for it's the whole Derby Day post they ran. They started smashing up family pubs, etc., etc. They treated it like. I think it was Luke Thomas, I think his name was, who started saying in the press, "Oh yeah, the crowd are gonna be right up for it. Yeah, we want to smash them," sort of thing. Only to lose 4-1, of course. And but you can tell to them like it is their big one. They treated that fourth round cup game. They treated like it was an FA Cup final, which was bizarre because they won an FA Cup final literally a few months prior to that fixture. But so we know what we're going to get. This is their big one. They'll have some fans, no doubt, that will take getting relegated if they win that game. So it's going to be hard. Like it's going to be very hard. Like Reece said, under the lights, it'll be a big atmosphere. And I think more tellingly, like you just touched upon, if Cooper wins that game, he might get quite a few off his back. I think even now, they're still on him. There's a lot of them sort of saying, "Oh, we're winning in spite of him," sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, on the face of it, at surface level, they're in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup? They, or third round of the Carabao Cup, I think it is. Third or fourth rounds. They're 13th, 14th in the league. Fourth round, yeah. 13th, 14th in the league. They're clear of relegation zone. I mean, as a newly promoted side, that's a pretty good start to the season, you think. But I don't know. I don't know if some of their fans still seem to think that, the last 2 years are a bit of a blip. They should be challenging top 10 or whatever else. But that's just delusion if it is. Because, they haven't got, a Maguire, a Fofana, a Kante, or, 10 years younger Jamie Vardy anymore. So, they don't have those players. So, or James Maddison, who's going to get 10 goals and 10 assists in a season. So, it's interesting, that sort of clash there. But no doubt he'll have something to prove. Obviously, he'll want to, get one over Marinakis. It'd be a spicy affair, no doubt. But we've just got to, I mean, it should be easy because it's Leicester, but treat it like it's any other game. Last season, I think against newly promoted sides, Nuno, I think we got 7 points from 9 against. Obviously, we drew at Luton, was at Leiden there, obviously drew 1-1. beat Burnley and beat Sheffield United. And this season, we've carried on that vein, obviously winning at Southampton. We're on a good run away from home at the minute. I think, generally speaking, few would bet against us getting at least a point there. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how we manage it. I'm sure we'll manage it pretty well. Like I said, as long as we can match them, match their, match their desire, if you like, then we should be okay. But yeah, it's a fascinating encounter for sure.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, it's just what I will say.
I generally can't wait. I know it's their big game, but it's just got so much spark into it with obviously Cooper being their manager, etc. I'm looking forward to Milenkovic and Vardy then battling it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I think what also makes it exciting. Obviously, we won last night, and then it's such a short turnaround. It's like football's here again, like within a flash. Before we know it, we'll be at the King Power playing another game of football, and if we win, we go 5th in the league. I mean, that's absolutely mental.
When you're winning, you want more and more, don't you? That's just football. When you're losing, you think, well, especially I think at Premier League level, it was like, we're talking about this on the Twitter page, weren't we? The run of form last season, we've only got 5 points from the next 10 games last season. So, yeah, once you're winning games, I'm looking forward to it. And like you said, Adam, to go 5th in the league, will be Europa League spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the makings of a good game. Leicester have scored lots of goals, let in a lot of goals, and we're defensively very astute and create a lot of chances on the counter. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Obviously, there's going to be more to come from having the Leicester fan on the podcast, and I think Reece, you're going on there, so that'll be an interesting take from both perspectives. And I'm sure it's going to be a good game of football, and hopefully decided by one team being better than the other, rather than being like anything like to do with referees or VAR and that sort of thing. And I mean, that's all what we could hope for as football fans in the end. But
have they said who the ref is yet?
No idea. But
probably Rob Jones, probably Stuart Atwell.
Probably Atwell, yeah. Probably.
But
that'll make Bryce happy. Give him Atwell.
Yeah. It's Craig Pawson.
Okay.
Is a ref, and Portini's on VAR.
Oh, brilliant! Right, okay, well done. Okay,
excellent.
But no, yeah. So looking forward
this time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully, everyone travelling to Leicester has safe travels, and it's a good game. And hopefully, we come out on the right result. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be wearing our fantastic light blue kit away at Leicester, because they do obviously play in blue, unfortunately. So
it'll be in red, won't they?
Yeah, more than likely be in red, but hopefully we have a better day out than we did the previous time we went to the King Power. We got absolutely stuffed. But yeah, win on Friday, guys, because we're talking about being 5th on Saturday morning. Let's just kind of get that energy in us.
So just quickly as well, Pawson's last game, what he ref for was just a 2-2 draw against Wolves last season. Right. And he also refed us last season one more time, which was a 0-0 at Palace.
So put a draw on it, basically. Is that what you're trying to say? Right. Well, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for everyone joining us. If you've enjoyed it, drop us a like, subscribe. It's free. Subscribe and like us all on Spotify, iTunes, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one when we're reviewing the Leicester game, or actually, sorry, the preview with the Leicester fan as well before that. So until then, come on, you Reds.